All right, Ian.
Yeah.
We've had an update that happened.
Update.
It was, why don't you let the sounds back? During the podcast last week when we were talking about
Soundboard and Amico, I'm so excited.
the Ars Technica article put up by Sam Metkovich, talking about a lot of the problematic things with the Intellivision. Obviously, that was on the wake of the dev portal information being leaked, and just figuring out that this was a 2016 smartphone, basically the Amico. At the time we were talking about it, Tommy Tallarico legally threatened Ars Technica on Twitter, no less. And we did not get to really sink our teeth into that at the time during the podcast. It literally happened that day as we were recording. And let's just say for the CEO of Intellivision, it did not go too well in terms of not just his legal threats, but the reaction on the internet at large, Ian.
Yeah.
It was derided almost universally, as it should have been, because you can't sue anyone for reporting on information they received. You can't really do that. That's what the First Amendment is. But it just really came across as really desperate. And this is the type of tactics that people on the lower level, we didn't really talk about, have been exposed to. Either threats of legal action or insinuations of threats that have been made against us.
Yeah, these aren't the first. These aren't the first threats. This is the first vocal. One of the first most mainstream and vocal threats. But there's been reports of other smaller YouTube channels that have been critical of this receiving failed, of course, but DMCA takedown challenges
for videos. Yeah.
I mean, people, they just don't want any of this info on that. They do not want to play on a fair playing field. They do not want any negative opinions voiced whatsoever.
So it's not surprising, but this is I said it was going to be a turning point, obviously, with the E3 coverage. But now we had a lot of YouTubers take up and discuss the Intellivision Amico in the past week. And obviously that was going to happen because now it's more mainstream. You have a video game CEO threatening a journalist, basically. That's obviously beyond the pale, and obviously it's insane, and it's going to get more eyes on your product. Excuse me, or eyes on the situation, I would say, by doing that. But you had some YouTubers, sort of going over the top and talking about this that never talked about it before. And I'm not surprised that this is the first time people are looking at this, because either things are off the radar, it's a smaller sort of, a lot of people didn't know what this was before E3, the Amico. But obviously we've been following it since the beginning when it was announced in, what was that, late 2018 or middle 2018. It's been like 3 years. When it was in PRGE 2018, it was in the fall. It was announced officially as a keynote, by the way, which is a whole other conversation. So I'm not surprised that it would get to here, but this is why I said you can't shield yourself forever from criticism. You can't be in your little AtariAge thread, which we're going to get to, where everyone's is starstruck by a 90s video game composer. Basically, that's, oh my God, you worked on Earthworm Jim, or you did the Terminator, a CD soundtrack or whatever he worked on. Like, at some point, the rubber hits the road. Do you have a product or not? Is this a viable product or not? And that's where we're at. By the way, I didn't realize in the original, Frank Cifaldi took a screenshot of the threat, which was deleted, obviously. Ars Technica, not Technica, because Tommy is not good at grammar and spelling. In the past.
No, Tom.
Journalist Sam Reddit just illegally posted a bunch of confidential information about Intellivision in his ridiculous misinformed article. So, was it misinformed, the information you're trying to say? But the information was correct that he posted. So what is it? Is the information misinformed, but then you're still threatening him over this information he pulled? Like, I don't understand. Like, Tommy, it doesn't make any sense.
Right, it doesn't.
The private info had not for public use and confidential all over it. Unfortunately, legal action will need to be taken. He probably called up his lawyer and retainer, and the lawyer said, you have absolutely no legal grounds to stand on. And, at that point, that's probably happened, or you are insane. So everyone laughed at Tommy, as they should have. People were dunking on Tommy, and other journalists like Patrick Klepek waded in, and others. So this is the worst possible thing that could have happened to Intellivision. Like, I mean, the worst thing.
Yeah.
The worst.
What do they call it? The Streisand effect. By trying to cover up this, the leak, the
The leak
unpassword protected
was a non-password protected site.
dev portal.
Yeah.
By trying to cover it up, basically he ensured that every single person in the world saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And
not just that, they realized that Tommy is a piece of garbage. I was just going to say he's a piece of garbage.
But I don't have any like names that I've marked down, but I saw people that I would not ever expect to see commenting on the Amico being like, "Oh, Tommy Tallarico's having a normal one," or Tommy Tallarico's having a meltdown. That's not what I expected to see. And
this got more coverage than their E3 video.
You know what did get a lot of traction after that though?
What?
Racists. They're gaming racists.
They're literally gaming racists.
So we've known Tommy to see now you like the soundboard. We've known
just that one.
I've got other from Tommy, but we've known for at least a couple years now, roughly, that Tommy has been calling people gaming racists and probably including us directly. And now I think it's changed to gaming communists. I've heard.
Yes.
Where it's so insane that you almost don't believe people thought it was a joke when people like Frank Cefalo are like he's calling people gaming racists. Like no, that's a joke, right? Like he didn't.
No, that's literally what
say that, right?
That's what he actually said.
He literally, like, those are the words, gaming racist. So now people are finding out about Tommy's abhorrent behavior on forums. And this goes back from what I hear to the 2000s.
His love of
forums.
Doug TenNapple.
Yeah. Cozying up into bed with terrible, people with awful beliefs. So he's asking questions like, this is stuff that we've kind of brought up. He's like, Frank said, remember this system is supposed to be the next Wii. It's meant to fill in that gap for family gaming. And this is not him being like caught in a private moment. This is a public forum discussion about the product. This is an official statement from the company's CEO pertaining to the gaming racist thing. Tommy is so unaware that all this awful public behavior is going to come back to haunt him more and more and more.
Yep.
But he can't help himself because he needs to be in the spotlight, even if that spotlight is the little corner of the internet on a video game forum frequented by 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds. Like, he has to. He needs the attention. He needs people to like him.
I think it's more that he needs to control the narrative as well.
But you can't control it though on just an AtariAge forum though. But I see what you're saying.
No, but
somewhere he has to though.
But that's his need. That's what causes him to lash out and say shit like legal incoming. Without thinking anything through because he's seeing the narrative slip away.
And this is again before we're gonna get another delay, the third delay. So like.
Yeah,
it's almost like when he unfortunately is the face of the product. So now it's going to be hard and harder to divorce him from the product, and that's what people are starting to do. Plus, you pissed off journalists. Journalists don't like when you go after someone with legal threats. It's a fraternity. Basically. They're a close-knit community, and it's like if you attack one, you attack potentially all of us.
No one's going to be happy with that.
No. So not only are you not going to get masturbatory articles written about your console. Now you're going to have more critical eyes on your console. Now you're going to have other journalists maybe go out of their way to stick up for their fellow journalists and
Correct.
look into some of this stuff a little bit more, like how Sam did with his excellent article. And it wasn't a hit piece.
No.
I see. No.
It was incredibly balanced.
It had facts.
Yep.
You can talk about, well, maybe his motives were like, I don't care. It was factual. You can tell what about Pat and Ian's motives if they don't like Tommy. If the console was actually good and the product was good, people would just say we were insane for going at it too hard. It's a bad product.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. Motives don't matter. It's a bad product. And I would say that even if I respected Tommy Tallarico, I would say it's a bad product. I would not be wearing the fucking
I mean, that's
sweatshirt.
where it all fucking started. It all started with us being like, "Hey, Tommy, who doesn't like Tommy?"
It was like Tommy Finger Cage. Remember it was Finger Cage Tommy Tallarico for video game years.
Video game years.
Yeah.
This is not bad, but I don't think it's going to work because we just saw what happened, and then Tommy didn't like that, and
then he starts.
we are.
Then he starts making fun of our personal appearances and calling us names on AtariAge forums, and not just that, he unleashes
making fun of my shakes.
Yeah, making fun of potential medical conditions, and then having his little what he calls Amico Mafia. He named it to go after me and Ian and do. There was a reason why when we do a critical video. Within 24 hours, there'd be 5 videos from these, losers attacking us directly and going after us and calling us frauds or we're has-beens or And on Twitter. I don't know if you saw them. They got me on Twitter saying, "Oh, you've fallen off. Your opinions don't matter anymore." If my opinions don't matter, why are you attacking me then? Ian, right? Like, if our opinions don't matter, then why are you bothering with us then? But obviously, yeah. So Atari's in a lot better shape than Intellivision. So Tommy, right after E3, did what a good CEO does when people are being critical of your console. There's going to be a delay. He went on a 3-week vacation. Fiddling while Rome burns, basically in the middle of this. That's what you want to do. That's a good CEO. So he came back to AtariAge because AtariAge, people are starting to be more critical even on AtariAge. There's threads being critical of the E3 presentation and of the reaction to the Ars Technica article. There's been some leeway now in thought. The thought policing on AtariAge, which used to be our favorite website, not anymore, unfortunately. The thought policing is still there. There's an official thread, a Q&A from Tommy Tallarico. And we usually don't talk about this thread here, but now we're getting more information directly from Tommy Tallarico, so you have to report on it because he's the CEO of the company. This is, to me, the same as a press release.
Right.
He might disagree. Oh, I can change my mind. You're the CEO of the company making public statements. This is stuff to report on, in my opinion, here. So people were asking stuff about, you show the cell phones so much. Why are you focusing on Farkle? Then this is what I want to key on here.
Why are you focusing on Farkle?
Which is true. And then he was trying to say, oh, there wasn't. This is one of the things I liked. Oh, there wasn't lag on. Remember we talked about how when you throw the dice out, it wasn't directly. There was like a pause. Mm-hmm. He said, well, we wanted to simulate real dice being thrown where there's, I guess, a pause in reality where the dice don't drop right away. When you have a cup of dice, Ian, and you shake it and drop it, it drops in less than a quarter of a second because it's called gravity. It's physics. It's not like a half-second delay and then the dice come out.
So he's saying the delay is to represent the time from the traveling from the cup to the... Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
So someone said the entire video was mostly old footage. I found that to be a strange move. You can't make up this response from Tommy. Once again, this is an incorrect statement. Certain footage that was repeated, Sesame Street, Major League Baseball, was shown because we didn't have enough time to get the footage cleared by the licensors. Okay. You know E3 is coming up for months and months. You're the CEO of a company. You know you want to put your best foot forward. If I'm taking Tommy at his word, he is just incompetent. If he's not lying, he's incompetent not getting the footage in time. Because obviously, there's tons of other licensors for E3 games. Tommy in the Intellivision is not the only one showing this stuff off for a license. We only had a few weeks to put the entire thing together. Why only a few weeks? It's not like E3 is a surprise. Oh my God, they announced E3, Ian, we're going to get this together. No, E3 is coming for several months.
It's not like E3 came to you and were like, we got to have you, Tom. It's not going to be the same without you.
We try to get newer footage like MLB and Hot Wheels in there. It was impossible given the time we had and everything else.
Bullshit.
And the company is working harder. So the MLB, I guess he's saying, is that prototype 5 seconds of awful footage of that baseball game. I'm just going to come out and say it's Bravo Sierra. There's no new footage of that baseball game, or we would have seen it. We would have saw it. The same thing like Earthworm Jim. We would have seen it. We would have seen it. Yeah, we would have seen it. It was impossible given the time we have. Now he's trying to claim like we can't just hook up a capture card to a device and put new footage on a computer. And yes, games like Breakout, Night Stalker, and Cloudy Mountain showed similar footage. It was the exact footage. At least for Cloudy Mountain and Night Stalker. That is because that's what those games look like. Zero reason for us to spend time playing Breakout and capturing new footage when the game looks exactly the same from when we did a long play of it earlier this year. What about for Night Stalker and Cloudy Mountain, though? How come we didn't see fresh footage there? We never saw a long play of those. That's kind of weird and interesting, right?
Kind of interesting.
Those three games, Breakout, Night Stalker, and Cloudy Mountain, I'll say are the most polished looking games out of all of them that we've seen. The ones that even was like, that looks interesting, that Night Stalker or that Cloudy Mountain.
You should really be pumping those.
And 2 out of 3 of those games we have not seen new footage of.
Show us how those games work. Show us how they play.
Things like seeing the way the touchscreen interacts with Missile Command was the important stuff. That's important. Okay. In fact, we had 5 more minutes of showing off the controller in unique ways, but ended up only keeping the Shark hint. Good way for folks to understand the Karma Engine aspect. The Karma Engine wasn't really. I mean, did he just talk about it in passing during that presentation? Was that even mentioned?
No, because I think he abandoned it because he did say in one of those many interviews that's out there that he even said it was bullshit.
There's an audio clip saying it's bullshit.
Yeah, we made it up.
Yeah, so it was all bullshit. And then someone asked him about why we haven't seen Earthworm Jim new footage. Let me try to find that one. That quote is like unbelievable. That quote. I can't find it right away, but he says something like, "We didn't show Earthworm Jim footage." He said there's a positive reason why we didn't show new Earthworm Jim footage. I'm paraphrasing. It's not correct, but that is something to the respect of. There's a good reason we did not show new Earthworm Jim footage.
I can take a guess
patient.
Because there isn't any.
That could be a plausible explanation that there's been no work on what would be your biggest game.
Yeah.
On the only game that anyone outside of this console cares about in any way. And that's not even like, it's Earthworm Jim. It's not like the biggest thing in the world, but there's some people that love Earthworm Jim from the 90s. So there was a cartoon, there was toys, there was multiple games, you know? So this is the CEO of a company. Again, like, you beat yourself over the head, but like, this is not just unprofessional. You're getting into the realm of people now seeing records of your statements, public records of your statements, that you have investors in. Again, you have investors. And you're just saying these things that if it comes out that this stuff is false, you're going to be in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to be in shit. If I was your lawyer, Tommy, I'd say keep your mouth shut. Don't go on these forums and say stuff like this. Don't say, yeah, we had footage available for this stuff. We had reasons we couldn't show it. It's just not good. Like, this is heading in a stranger direction than I thought it would turn, obviously, but now you have people asking, even on AtariAge, reasonable questions. Like we said, where's the Earthworm Jim footage? This is, I was asking it. And when you say, I have a good reason for not showing that footage, okay. Here it is. In regards to not showing Earthworm Jim, this is his quotes. In regards to not showing Earthworm Jim, there is a very specific reason for which I can't talk about. But just know that it is something extremely positive for the project. How could it be positive for the project not showing any new footage? How is that? How could you spin that? How could you possibly spin that, Tommy, into being positive? Can you even think? I can't even think of a reason.
There's no positive reason for not showing footage.
We're positively not going to show any new footage because we want. It's always going to come back to we want to market too early, but it's confidence that the project's going in the positive direction. Not just like you can make the argument like if it was like, well, we have no investors and no pre-orders going on, so why do you care what the progress is? You have tons of investors and people that put in money for this almost a year and a half ago.
Also, Tommy, you're the fucking head of this thing. You can probably show whatever the hell you want.
Yes. Well, obviously, yes. Yeah. So Earthworm Jim, there's a very specific reason which I can't talk about. I'm going to guess you can't talk about it because you don't have footage. I mean, that's my reasonable assumption there. If you had footage, you would have shown it. So that's my takeaways from this, is that someone's got to get him away from this company. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
But if it hasn't happened by now, it won't happen. Like, someone's got to say, you can't be the head and face of this company. Maybe you want to do something in the back end. You got to shut your mouth. Never show up in a video ever again. Don't go on Twitter attacking journalists. By the way, he finally blocked me, even though I never tweet at him. And I never respond to his weird tirades calling me a coward and saying that, you know, I'm a failed YouTuber and stuff. I never respond to that stuff for the most part. Not at least for the past year, I haven't. And he blocked me because he was probably tired of seeing my name show up, I guess, in some of the replies and
Surprisingly,
stuff.
I am not blocked yet.
There you go, Ian.
I'm sure I will.
You can have at it. So, I mean, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say about, you know, YouTubers that were promoting this, that there's some that turned themselves around. There's some that were not. I almost don't feel like punching down individual YouTubers that are so lost and taken for, you know, they're basically marks and just get starstruck by Tommy Tallarico. But, you know, I did warn, and we warned them that this was going to happen. This was going to get worse and worse.
Oh, sure did.
Over the past year. And like, he's using you. He doesn't care about you. If this goes bad, it's going to be bad on you. You're going to be held accountable by your followers and people that actually enjoy your content. And it's going to get worse and worse, you know. So get out while you can, fellas. I know you like gaining your several hundred subscribers or 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers over the past year by interviewing Tommy 1,000 times. But if eventually the gravy train ends and you're going to be left holding the variable bag when it comes to this. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And you can dislike us, you can hate our attitudes, but what we're saying is absolutely true.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you can't stand us or think what we're grading. You don't like my hair. It's all going to come to pass. And it's not because we're smart. We've seen it happen before. And we can be smart a little bit, but we've seen the playbook happen before.
Yeah.
It goes the same exact way every time. So, anything else from that AtariAge thread that you thought was enlightening besides saying that there was a great reason not to show Earthworm footage? I mean,
no, it's just him scrambling.
All right. Well, we'll have an update on this when it officially gets delayed, which should have happened by now. If you were a competent CEO, you would have pulled the plug by now. But I guess it looks bad right after you illegally threaten a game journalist.
Yeah.
The next week.
That's not going to look good.
Oh yeah, it's not going to look good either way, Tommy. But oh well.